How's it going, everybody? It's episode 203 of Catfish on Ice. We're calling it Saturday Night Preds Fever.
Yes.
I think this is the first time we've ever done a live episode on a Saturday night. Someone can correct us. Some of the diehard listeners maybe can say we did. I don't think we've ever done one.
Not that I can remember. So it's Saturday night, and you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man. No time to talk.
Like how you saved that for the intro.
Saturday Night Live. Or Saturday
there
Night
you
Fever.
go. It is Saturday Night Preds Fever because we are officially less than 72 hours away from opening puck drop for the Predators versus the Lightning. And it's, last season, Rich, they were on the Global Series, which was really cool and everything. Not taking anything away from that. But I actually think it's even kind of ups the ante a little bit more that they're up against the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team of that magnitude on the road on national TV. It's going to be featured as the ESPN's first game of the regular season. That is a huge deal.
Yes, it is. Massive. First game of a 3-game triple header Tuesday night. So that's exciting.
It's a big deal. Did you see also the news about how ESPN is going to be doing their version of Red Zone?
I did. Yeah, that's good too.
They're not doing that on that particular night, but I have to go back and find the exact date on when they're doing that. But they'll basically be showing. So it's a night where every team's basically going to be playing in the NHL, and so they're going to be showing every goal that's scored, every big thing that happens. It's going to be wire to wire action. And I got to try to talk to my boss and see if I can take off work that night.
Yeah.
Because I need that.
Yeah. And you have a game. You're going to the game Tuesday.
I will be there. I'm actually kind of have to pinch myself a little bit, and I'm not even trying to be over dramatic right now. I have to pinch myself at the fact that I'm going to be watching the Nashville Predators live in less than 72 hours. I am super stoked about that right now.
You should be, man. That's going to be awesome. Opening night, man, of the NHL.
Let's say howdy back to our friend Nikki. What's up, Nikki?
Yep. Nikki
happy to have you in on a Saturday night.
Nikki's has the Rona I saw in our group chat, so feel better. Hopefully, Nikki.
Feel better, Nikki. Hope everything's good. Get better soon.
Yep. Drink lots of orange juice.
Yes, appreciate you being in on the episode with us. So it's Predators Saturday Night Fever. That's what we're calling this episode. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you see the flashy palm trees in the background. Don't ask me why I came up with that.
You live in Florida. Those are all over the place.
Well, yeah, that makes sense too. And also, it's episode 203, so we're moving right along. We're going to be trucking right along into this regular season. And let's tell you what we got going in store for you on this live episode, our first live episode in a little bit of time here. We haven't had a live episode in a week or two, so we're excited to be back on with you with these live episodes because we always have so much fun. We wing it half the time.
Oh, yeah.
I think everyone knows that, right?
It's just two dudes talking about hockey.
Exactly, right? So here's what we're into tonight. So we have to really fully break down pretty much what we see as the Preds' final roster. They made some of their final roster decisions today. We don't know what line combinations are going to look like necessarily, but we do know who is going to be there available for the regular season opener. And so some very interesting decisions were made today, including one player in particular.
Head scratcher.
Let's leave it as a cliffhanger.
Yeah, we'll leave it
about it later.
Don't say it yet.
That's a cliffhanger. But we will talk about the final roster and kind of elaborate a little bit more on line combination possibilities, which is a complete mystery. But we will try to figure it out. I don't think anybody really knows right now. I don't even think Andrew Burnett knows what he's going to do yet.
I hope he knows. He better be figuring it out.
He probably has an idea, but you get where I'm getting with that.
I do. Yeah, hopefully.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to break that down. I want to do a segment called the Hype Train, the Preds Hype Train. It is a Saturday night. Let's do the Hype Train. It's that time of year. Every team is on a fresh, clean slate. Nobody's played a game yet. You've got all these predictions, all these previews, all these. This is my Stanley Cup prediction. there's always one team, sometimes two teams, that surprise everybody every year. Why can't it be the Predators? Let's talk about what we're hype about this year.
Yeah, it needs to be this year. Let's do it.
We're going to throw it in there. What are we hype about this year? So that'll be a segment, the hype train, the Preds hype train on Predators Saturday Night Fever. We're going to do that. We are also going to give you a new segment of the Central Division rundown. Got 3 teams in the Central Division who have made some news, really more like 4 teams. But we'll let you know about that later. We're going to talk about some things that are going around in the Central Division. That's going to be a weekly segment throughout the season, the Central Division rundown. We'll get into that. We're going to catch up with some former Predators fan favorites and where they are now, where they're going. And I'm not even just talking about the players that just left us. Like, we know where Matt Duchene is
we know where he's at.
We're talking about players from even further in the past that were those fan favorites, those players that we still miss. We want to catch up with them. We want to see how they're doing.
For sure.
So we will do a fun segment on that. And we will preview the Tampa Bay Lightning matchup because this is our last episode before that game.
Yeah.
So how could we not preview that matchup? We're going to talk a little bit more about the Lightning. If you haven't heard episode 202 yet, the previous episode, we had a very special guest on, Rod Peterson, who is running a new podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network called the Cats and Bolts Podcast. He's going to cover simultaneously on his podcast the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think that's a really outstanding idea, first of all. And Rod Peterson is one of the best out there. He was so gracious to even come on our podcast to begin with.
Right.
We had a great me and Rod had an outstanding 30-minute or so around there interview segment, talked about the matchup a little bit more. I wanted to get his thoughts on a lot of different things. He had some really good things to say about the Predators, actually.
That's good. It's always exciting when other folks who cover other teams recognize that, things might be on the upswing. That's awesome.
Definitely. So go listen to that or watch it on our YouTube channel right now and hit subscribe while you're there as well. You can also listen to the episode on all of our podcast platforms. So let's dive right into it here for Saturday Night Preds Fever. Let's do it. It's live. Well, let's first of all say hello to Justin, our good friend. Oh, and we also have to talk. We'll do this at the very end of the episode. We will definitely mix in our Catfish on Ice Fantasy Hockey League year 3. Is it year 3, Rich? Of this league? I think it's our 3rd year.
3 or I think it is 3.
It's our 3rd year.
Except we're doing it a little different this year.
We're doing it a little bit differently this year.
Keeper league.
We're in a keeper league this year. I
don't know what that means. Other than I guess you keep some people, but
I have no idea either. To be quite honest.
I never played fantasy hockey until we started doing this. So
we just had our live draft on Friday night.
Rough.
So we're doing this on a Saturday. So last night we did our. Rich is already saying rough. You don't like your team,
rough, man? Not really.
All right, we'll break down our rosters. I'll tell you a mishap I had.
I saw that.
It'll be fun.
We'll talk about it. But I thought something was wrong when it was your pick and the thing froze up, and I was like, "What is happening right now? Like, am I missing something?" So
we'll call it a user error. We'll blame me for it.
Oh, but here you go. Justin, we will keep 4 players heading into next fantasy season.
So we're thinking way ahead here.
So next year we get to keep. So I get to keep David Pastrnak. So that's one of the guys I drafted.
Well, you've already made that choice, and you don't even have to think about it.
Nope.
I did see that you got Pastrnak, and I when I saw you choose him on the live draft, I was so happy for you because I know how much you love that dude.
Shocked that someone else did not pick him. Yeah. And you were before me, but you had problems. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it later. I don't even want to get into it. You're gonna make me. Yeah. All right. Anyway. All right. Let's get into it. Let's first break down everything on the roster news for the Predators here with this Predators Saturday Night Fever episode 203 of Catfish on Ice. The Predators have pretty much finally gotten their roster down to that 23 player limit that it has to be at.
Yep.
When you go to the regular season.
Yeah.
First of all, let's talk about the preseason a little bit, Rich, because we haven't talked about it on an episode together much yet. Not since the last live episode. which the last live episode was the Tampa Bay Lightning matchup where they lost 2-1 in overtime. That was the last time we did a live episode together.
Yes.
So a few more preseason games since then, 3 preseason games since then.
Yep.
They turned in their best preseason performance against the Tampa Bay Lightning that following game.
Against, Tampa's B
squad.
Well,
up to that point.
I guess so, yeah.
They won 5. They won. They won. No, they got the win.
They did.
Or they lost 5-4. They lost 5-4. You're right.
That's right. Yeah.
The game they lost 5-4. They went up against Tampa Bay's top players. They lost the game, but it was still a really, really good performance.
Yes. I was thinking of the next game against the Carolina Hurricanes.
And they also went up against their backups. So
that night they did, and they won that one.
No, they dominated that game.
Yeah, it was good. And the new guy that they got off waivers, Fagimo. Is that how you say it?
Fagimo.
Sam Fagimo. Look at
Fagimo.
us getting it right on the first try.
Fagimo.
He scored a goal.
He did.
Lots of goals to go around. So that's good. Awesome to see that. So
yes, so that's kind of what threw a monkey wrench into this whole roster thing that we're going to talk about here to open up episode 203. But let me just circle back a little bit to I still think the best preseason performance of the entire preseason was a game they lost, and that was that 5-4 loss to Tampa Bay Lightning's top players. Kucherov was in that game. Stamkos was in that game. Their top players, Hedman was in that game. The only player they didn't have was Vasilevsky, which I haven't talked to you about that either since that news broke.
Yep. Crazy.
So Vasilevsky is not going to be a net in this season opener. We do wish him the best, obviously, and hope he has a speedy recovery. We don't want to see one of the world's best goaltenders not be able to play.
Yep.
But it does help the Predators in that matchup. You'd be lying to yourself if you said otherwise. But yes, I would say that their best preseason performance was that game, even though they lost that 5-4 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
And they did look really, really great in the next game against the Hurricanes. But again, they were fielding pretty much all of their backups. They didn't field. Even Rod Brindamar said that this game is so I want to get a better look at the players that are on tryouts and players that are prospects. And so the Predators did what they were supposed to do in that game, which is dominate that game. And they did that. They did.
But then the next game, Nashville had all of their stars in. Carolina had all of their stars in. They were going against Lankinen was in net, and he got torched. 5-1, I believe, was the final score. 4-1 or 5-1, I don't remember.
I think it was 5-1.
5-1, but they got scored on like twice within 20 seconds. Sebastian Aho, and then I can't remember who the other one was. It was that got away from them kind of quick. It was ugly. They couldn't get anything going. So,
well, once again, the Hurricanes are going to be a Stanley Cup favorite type of pick of a team.
Yep.
Yeah, they won 4-1.
4-1.
Sorry.
Okay.
I just wanted to double check it.
It's a blur.
It was 4-1.
We were drafting while that game was going on. So
yeah. So give us a break. It was 4-1. The Predators won the first preseason matchup with the Hurricanes 5-1.
Yeah.
Right. And going back to that 4-1 game, it is a letdown a little bit. The Predators only got 23 shots on goal. Yeah. So that's a little bit of a setback there. Got dominated in the face-off circle. Went 0 for 4 on the power play. So that's a little bit of a downer.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I mean, this is kind of going along with the theme that I've been saying. The Predators are a work in progress, people. They are.
Yeah. And we, once again, I know we got in, we got Ryan O'Reilly and got some more, veteran guys, but like you just said, it is still a work in progress, and it might take a little bit for them to get their feet under themselves. So we're going to have to be a little patient and not freak out. So,
looking at your lone Preds goal scorer in this preseason finale, it was Yakov Trenin gets on the board there. He tied the game at 1.
I heard it was like a fluke kind of thing, like it bounced off somebody's skate or something.
Yeah. Tyson Barrie and McCarron had the assist on that. So yeah, that's all they just could not get a lot of offense going in this game, unfortunately. But the Hurricanes are a legit team. We know that. If this happened in the regular season, would we be that shocked? No, we wouldn't. It's the Hurricanes. They're good. They're one of the top tier teams in the league.
They're very good.
I'm not going to get overly think about this game too much. Would I have liked to have seen them go more toe-to-toe with them a little bit? Yeah, that'd be nice. But all it tells you is the Predators have some things to really work on. It's going to take time. And so let's move on now, Rich, to this this big roster news. We've seen some of the final. Already Rich is like, can't believe it. He's just in awe right now. So and weird. I am too. I didn't see it coming either.
No, not at all.
So
go ahead. Let me tell the people. They probably know, but
yeah, they probably know, but maybe they don't. Maybe Dennis Garyanov, who was picked up late in free agency, and he's been waived. And I don't know if he's going to get picked up or not or claimed. I don't know. But it just seems really strange. He must have had a really, really terrible training camp to get waived.
Well, and then they get Sam Fahimo. Fahimo. Well, Pete Weber was saying Fajimo or something. Anyway, they picked him up and he scored a goal in the 5-1 win against the Hurricanes, and apparently he made a good impression because they kept him and waived Garyanov. So that's a little weird.
So I'm always up on the front when I tell you that I'm wrong, and I'm wrong all the time. I mean, it's sports. You're wrong all the time. Garyanov wasn't even on my radar as far as being concerned about not being in the initial roster for the regular season. It wasn't even on my radar. For me, it was coming down to Michael McCarron or Cole Smith.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's funny is both of those guys are on the roster.
I knew that as good of a story as it was cool to see him make it deep into the preseason. I knew that Mark Del Gaizo was not going to initially make the roster. It doesn't mean he's not going to get called up eventually, but I mean, you're not going to waive Dante Fabro, Jeremy Lazon, or Alexander Carrier. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to waive those players because they're going to get claimed. All three of those players will get claimed.
For sure.
So they're potential trade pieces for you down the road. You're playing chess right now, not checkers. Yep. So I never really saw Mark Del Gaizo as realistically making the final roster.
I agree.
But it came down to me. It came down because there were three players that had to be basically it was two players really that had to be decided on. Del Gaizo was reassigned to the Milwaukee Admirals today. So that's taken care of. And so I thought it was going to be Cole Smith or Michael McCarron. I thought that they were going to just cut their losses and waive one of those players.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was going to be Michael McCarron. And I think I even said that a long time ago when we were talking about it. But it's really weird. It's so strange that they went out and got Garyanov and then wound up waiving him or whatever. It's crazy.
I just feel like he must have had a really bad showing. I thought the coaches probably saw a lot of things they just weren't liking. It's all about talent evaluation. And when it came to Garyanov, he's trying to revitalize his NHL career. He's really at rock bottom when it comes to trying to get his career revitalized. And he came to Nashville trying to make an impression. And for whatever reason, I would love to hear some statements on that from Barry Trotz and Andrew Burnett on why Dennis Garyanov did not make this roster. Because if it comes down to Garyanov, McCarron, or Cole Smith, you would think Garyanov has more upside because, the dude scored 4 goals in a playoff game for the Dallas Stars. He's a former first-round pick. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to turn out to what they are. And, I have to trust – all I can do is trust the professionals. And so I have to trust Barry Trotz and his evaluation. I have to trust Andrew Burnett and his evaluation that he sees more value in Cole Smith and Michael McCarron than he does Dennis Gurianov.
Absolutely. And like we've always said, we have no clue. We don't know what's going on. So they, like you said, they probably saw something they didn't like, and
they saw a trend. Maybe they saw
a trend. Yeah,
the whole throughout the entire training camp and preseason. They probably saw a trend that they just didn't like. And Cole Smith got these raving reviews to open training camp.
Yeah, I was going to say that because they were saying he was one of the hardest working players out there. So, maybe that was a little indication that he's
I've been very vocal when I say that Michael McCarron for me is a really quality fourth line plug-in player. I call it, like, you plug him in when you need him.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want him to be in the lineup every game. You'd rather have some better options. But he is definitely a serviceable fourth line player when you have to use him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if Michael McCarron's in the lineup on the fourth line to open against the Lightning, that I'm okay with that. But let's kind of start trying to shape up this roster now, Rich, now that we kind of know who's coming out of training camp now. And let's start with that fourth line now and kind of the players we just discussed. I was always on board, and I got a lot of feedback from fans that felt the same way. They were big proponents in keeping Kiefer Sherwood in this lineup.
And there he is. And he's in.
I was never really worried about him making the lineup because I felt like he was pretty safe there. But where he's going to be placed on this lineup, he's such a vital fourth line player. But I want to make this very clear. I don't think Kiefer Sherwood is limited to being just a fourth line player, and he showed that this past season.
I agree.
Sherwood can be moved around. If injuries are going to happen, they are inevitable.
Yep.
Injuries are going to happen. You can depend on Sherwood to play more minutes and be on a second line for a few games if you need him to. So Sherwood was never in danger of losing a roster spot.
No, I agree. I like him too. He's a really good player. He's really gives his all when he's out there. So it's awesome.
Let's say hi to a few more people here that are coming in. We're talking more about the Catfish and Ice Fantasy Hockey League. We've got our commissioner of the league. I gave up so for 2 years, yours truly was commissioner of the podcast league. And how many commissioners do you know would just give up their title, their prestigious title, willingly?
Well, there wasn't any pay or anything, so.
Well, no. I wasn't voted out. I gave it away.
Yeah.
And we have a really amazing commissioner, and that is Snarky Squeegee, aka CJ. CJ, you've done awesome.
Yep.
You did awesome.
Yep.
We have our friend Emma on YouTube saying hand pink waving. Rich, what does that mean?
I don't know. I have no idea. You don't know? You're younger than I am. You should know.
Hand pink waving? I really don't.
What's that mean?
Hello, Emma. Thank you for joining YouTube. We appreciate you.
Yes.
All right. Let's move along here. All right. So we think Sherwood is on he's on the roster, but fourth line, most likely fourth line to open the season, maybe third line. We don't know yet.
Maybe. I was just kind of looking at it.
Where is Samuel Fahimo going to go, Rich?
I don't know. I bet he might be one of the dudes who gets like healthy scratched for a little bit.
I don't think so. See, I disagree. I think he's going to be on the third line.
Okay.
I really do. You cannot overlook Fahimo's natural talent and abilities to just score goals.
Yeah.
And the only reason he's no longer with the LA Kings is because the Kings are in a farly advanced situation with their roster than the Predators are.
Yeah.
The Predators had a need. The Kings had an overload of players that they didn't have room for. And so that's how waivers work sometimes. Sometimes you have an overabundance of great players and you can't hold on to all of them. The waiver exemption rules are very complicated. You can go check it out. There's plenty of articles out there that basically explain to you how it works when you're waiver exempt. But the basic idea behind it is once you play your first NHL game, it goes by years and by your age.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of a tape. There's a table that measures it all. I don't have it memorized in my head. Yeah. But Samuel Fahimo is a 2019 draft pick who has played a handful of games for the Kings, but hasn't really played a lot of games in the NHL. He was at that point where he was no longer waiver exempt, unfortunately, for the Kings. They would have loved for him to be waiver exempt. That organization, this is a situation where that organization did not want to lose this player.
Yep, I agree. 100%. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, now that Cole Smith and Michael McCarron have made it through and they're in, that makes it more clear to me that I'm moving up Fahimo to here's what I'm thinking for my third line right now. I could be completely wrong. Okay. I'm just throwing it out there.
That's what I was going to ask is what you thought.
I think our centers are pretty dead set. I think it's Ryan O'Reilly, Cody Glass, Tommy Novak, and Colton Sissons, right?
Yes.
So now we just have to fill in the wingers now, right? Okay. So
Philip Forsberg.
Oh no, Forsberg's going on my fourth line. What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
Oh no. All right, so Forsberg top line. I don't know who's going to be on that top line on wing. It could be Juuso Parssinen.
I'm thinking that's who it's going to be.
You really think it's going to be him?
I don't know. Yeah, I got a feeling. I think it is. I don't know why.
I wouldn't be mad about that.
No, not at all. Yeah, I don't. You want to say Luke Evangelista.
No, I don't think he's gonna. I think they're gonna. I just think they're gonna ease him in a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I've said this the last couple episodes that I've done on YouTube recently since our last live episode, but I've touched on this before. Barry Trotz is a big proponent of not forcing younger players into situations they're not ready for.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he doesn't want those players to play, but definitely you have to use a smart approach on how you're going to use those players, So I think that as much, and I talked about it over the offseason, I was getting all crazy about it and getting excited about it. I was like, I want to see Evangelista on the top line. But I get it. If they ease him in a little bit and he's on the third line, I don't know if he's a third line type of player though. I don't want him to get bullied, Like I don't want Evangelista. A lot of those bottom six players you're going up against on other teams, they'll bully you. They'll push you around.
Yep.
And Evangelista has that elite skill, innate skill that he has. I'm afraid that if he's in the bottom six, he might get just like buried down there somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's a tough call.
Well, one thing, two of these guys are going to be sitting for sure. There's 14 forwards. They have Nolan Burke, but it says he's injured, so it doesn't count against the 23.
Yes.
So two of these guys are sitting. What a hard decision, man.
Who are you sitting then? That's a good question, and I'll give you my answers. Who are you scratching? You got to scratch a defenseman. You got to scratch a forward.
Yeah. Well, I think. Yeah,
because they've got 7 defensemen too.
I think probably I'd probably scratch McCarron, maybe
over Smith. I got to go the other way with that. I had some people on Twitter or on X. I still can't say it right. On X, I had some people reach out to me and ask me McCarron or Smith because I was dead set that it was going to be McCarron or Smith. Obviously, I was wrong on that. But I had some people ask me, would you take McCarron or Smith if you had to choose between the two? And I took McCarron. Because I like McCarron's big body. I think he's got a little bit more offensive upside than Smith. He's a bigger player, and I want to keep a player like McCarron around throughout the regular season so that I can turn to that player when needed, when injuries happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also think that McCarron is more likely to be claimed on waivers than Smith. They could both be claimed, but I think McCarron would definitely be claimed.
Yeah.
By somebody. I think a rebuilding team would love to add a McCarron to their rebuilding plans.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of who doesn't play, I would healthy scratch Smith.
Okay.
I would go with that weird fourth line we're trying to figure out. Sisson's fourth line center. Sherwood.
Yep.
And then McCarron.
Yeah.
I don't think you went out and claimed Fahimo with his offensive skill set to just throw him on a fourth line.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I like the idea of Fahimo being on a line with Yakov Trenin, who has also got offensive skill sets. And you've got Tommy Novak as the center, who is already proven that he is well beyond his years in the NHL in terms of being a puck distributor, his ice vision, seeing the play develop. Can you imagine Novak and Fahimo building chemistry throughout the season together?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those two can go to work, and they got speed.
So you're thinking, what'd you say? Novak, Trenin,
and Fahimo. Trenin's your big body on the third line. You got to have him.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know if I've felt that good about a Preds third line since the Herd line.
I know, right?
And the only reason we really liked the Herd line was because they just bashed people in.
Yeah, punched faces.
This is a whole different type of a third line here. If this third line sticks,
yeah, that Herd line stuff's out the door.
Yeah, so
you're not gonna be seeing any of that.
I mean, so that kind of leaves you with Thomas. I have it written down here, and I've been scratching this out. I've had this running list going of my line combinations for the past week now, and I've scratched people out and I've moved people out. And now that Garyanov's out of the picture, I scratched him out and I moved in Smith. But my top six really doesn't change other than I got to figure out where to put Juuso Parssinen. Right?
Yeah. Top line. Gosh, I don't know, man.
We're running out of room, though, guys, because if you think about it, you still got to make – I'm looking at my list right now. And you've still got to find room for Tomasino, Nyquist. So really, I think that there's a good chance that both McCarron and Smith are a healthy scratch.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Of the ones, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's go with that. I like that.
I think the Predators are just holding on to those players because they don't want them to get claimed on waivers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not waiver exempt. So you're keeping them around because you want to have them around if you need them.
Yep.
But ultimately, I don't think Smith or McCarron are playing against the Lightning.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Of the people that are left, because you want to see like what Tomasino's going to do. You want to see what
you're not healthy scratching Tomasino.
No,
you're not healthy scratching Juuso Parssinen.
Mm-mm. Oh no, gosh, no.
None of those players. No They're all safe. Yeah. So even though they make the roster, they're not starting most likely against Tampa. So I don't think we have any idea who that top line winger is going to be. It could be Parssinen. It could be Evangelista. It could be Nyquist. We really don't know.
Yeah.
It could be. I think fans would be really upset about this, but I wouldn't even completely overlook the possibility that Nyquist goes on the top line and Burnett chooses to go with a top line that's veterans, all veterans, and then go with the kid line on the second line. You could go Tomasino, Glass, Evangelista on the second line, go a full kid line. That's possible too.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
It's like putting a puzzle together.
It is, man. It's very hard.
And it makes your head spin.
And the next section we need to talk about, the defensemen. That's even hard. It's not hard to figure out the lines. It's hard to figure out who's not going to be playing. That's the thing.
So CJ just brought up a really good point about a player that didn't make the Preds final roster, but he's getting a lot of hype in training camp. That was Joakim Kimmel. He Squeegee Dude, which is CJ, says on YouTube, don't forget Kimmel in a year. He's got to go top 6 right away. So I got something to say about Kimmel later in this episode, so I'll just leave you on a cliffhanger there. But I don't think it's going to take a year before we see Kimmel again. Let's just be honest about that.
I watched one of the what they call it? What is it called? The prospect showcase. Man, that dude, his shot. I mean, it is so fast. He just snaps that shot. It's crazy.
So don't come at me for this. But his shot reminds me of Ovechkin.
Me too. Absolutely.
I hope I'm not getting a little too crazy over that.
Well, one of the plays, yeah, he was right where Ovechkin always sets up, and he one time.
And he has a really, really, he's got a swagger about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he knows.
And I think the organization is just. And I'm glad that they're going this route. I'm very glad that they're starting him off in Milwaukee again this year, because I think that you can afford to be a little bit patient with Evangelista, with Kimmel right now. I think you can be a little patient.
Yeah,
you don't have to rush him in.
No.
You can call him up. You can call him up when you're ready,
but
you don't have to thrust him in game 1.
No,
that's what the fan. I'm greedy. I'm selfish. I want to see him game 1. I would love that. You kidding me? I'm going to be in person at Tampa watching this game. You think I would love to see Kimmel in person playing that game? I would love that.
That'd be sick.
But I also know that that's probably not the best path for Kimmel. I think that he needs – I want to see him dominate a little bit with the Milwaukee Admirals and then call him up when he's ready.
Yeah.
Or when the team needs him.
Kind of like what happened last year, like with Evangelista. Like, he didn't play in the beginning of the season, and when he came in, he made an impact, and that was what was, that was awesome. That was awesome to see. So, yeah, let Kimmel play in Milwaukee for a while.
I want to go back to CJ's question here real quick. He just shared on YouTube. He asked, who should be the outright second center, Glass or Novak? That is an outstanding question.
It is.
CJ says he thinks it's Novak's to lose.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with that. I think. I don't know. Tommy Novak, he's come along. He didn't even make his season debut until mid-December. Yeah,
and against the Edmonton Oilers, I was at that game in person, and he has still managed to finish. What was it, third on the team in points? It was.
I think so.
I think it was either third or fourth.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a full-time NHLer now. He's graduated.
Yeah, I agree.
He made
100%.
He did what it's very hard for players to do that, but he did it. He worked his tail off, and it took some time. He had to get sent back down a few times, but he's graduated. Yeah. For lack of a better term, he is graduated.
Yeah. I like him too. He's got like a real even keel. Like, nothing really phases him, which is cool. I like that.
So Novak, I've looked at this a million times, but I just want to make sure. I want to fact check myself and make sure I'm right. Novak finished third on the team in points last year with 43 points in 51 games.
Which that's good.
That's very good.
That's really good.
And based on point per game output, it's actually one of the better seasons in Predators history. I know it's only 51 games, but the Predators in their history have not had a lot of players with that kind of efficiency.
Yeah.
Especially before 2021.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So Novak's earned it. He's there. Good for him. That's a good question from CJ.
Yeah, it is.
Because Cody Glass has kind of flown under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
We haven't talked a lot about him.
No, kind of waiting for him to like break through, like just like make that push. And
I haven't felt this good about the 4 centers that the Predators are going to be throwing out there in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it's
to think about Ryan O'Reilly. You pick up Ryan O'Reilly. I feel no offense to all the Ryan Johansson fans out there, but I feel way better about having Ryan O'Reilly on my team than I do Ryan Johansson.
I do too.
I do. I'm sorry, but I do.
Yep.
Ryan O'Reilly, Cody Glass, Tommy Novak, and then you've got the glue of the team, Colton Sissons.
Yep.
I mean, I feel pretty good about those 4 centers.
Yeah, I do too. Especially the top 2. Yeah, O'Reilly and Novak, who I would consider the top 2. So
O'Reilly just had a 4-point game in that big blowout win against the Canes backups, but still was a good game.
Hey, it is a good game.
So there you go with that. But so that's our roster. Let's look at the defense real quick. Let's touch on that.
Man,
we really don't know who's going to be on that third pairing. That's not settled.
No,
it's not settled.
Not at all.
So
you're looking at Yossi Shin. Shin's going to be like Yossi's protector. You got to think McDonough and Barry. So that leaves Lazan, Carrier, and Fabro.
Which is what we've been talking about all offseason.
Yep. Which one sits?
So let's make our choice. I'm gonna go at this point. Man, it's so tough. I'm sitting Lazan.
Yeah, I think so too.
And as much as Dante Fabro has been a punching bag on this podcast before, I still trust Fabro to make the right decisions in most situations. Where's our buddy Kyle Perkins when we need him to tell me I'm wrong?
He would be going nuts. It would either be Lazan and Carrier, and I just would have a hard time sitting Carrier in any situation, really. That's tough.
They're gonna be rotating those 3 guys.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. So we'll see all of them.
And Burnett's going to be looking very closely to see what works the best,
which
is kind of why I feel like it's going to be a trial and error phase through the first 10 to 20 games. There's going to be some games. I want everyone to get ready. There's going to be some games where this style of play the Predators are playing with now, this push the pace, exciting style of play, while it's fun to watch and entertaining, it gives up a lot of counterattacks.
It absolutely does.
So the Predators are going to give up a lot of shots on goal to the other team. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it does lead to a lot of counterattacks, and also it's a style of play that, they're still getting adjusted to doing because they haven't, your Philip Forsbergs and your Roman Yossis, those guys, they haven't played fast like that for a while. So
you're going to have situations where the Predators look for that stretch pass. We saw it a lot in the preseason.
Yes.
They're looking for that stretch pass to springboard those 2-on-1 situations. And it's exciting for the fan to watch. Don't get me wrong, but it comes with a lot of risk.
It does. That was one of the things in the game against Carolina last night. Or whenever it was last night. Yeah, last night. Passing was not great at all. So they got to fix that up.
Let's say hi to Lindsay, also in our Catfish and Ice Fantasy Hockey League for the 3rd year in a row. She's been in our league the entire time.
Yep.
Hope you're doing well, Lindsay. So great to see you on YouTube joining us tonight. And she says, what are Preds fans expecting from the team after preseason is done? I think it's all over the board, Lindsay.
Yeah.
I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing fans who are super pumped and excited. And I'm also seeing fans that are already being negative.
Get rid of Trotz.
Fire them all to the sun.
Turn it all down. They lost against whoever.
Yeah. But that's how it goes. That's how it goes. That's how this until this team can have sustained success again.
Yeah.
It's going to take time.
Yeah.
CJ on YouTube says, I think this is Fabro's year. New coach, new system. Does he match up with Yossi majority of the year? Question mark. You want to see fans revolt if they start putting Fabro on the top pairing with
Roman Yossi. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
that could be ugly.
I think over the offseason, Rich, we were kind of like giving our early thoughts on what the lineup could look like. It was right after Luke Shin was picked up. And I was thinking Luke Shin was going to be maybe the bottom pairing. And obviously I was wrong on that, it appears. But it doesn't mean that things won't change throughout the season.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't think Luke Shin's looked that great as a top pairing defenseman through the preseason so far.
Yeah.
Here's the trade-off with putting Luke Shin on your top pairing.
Mm-hmm.
The dude is way past his prime when it comes to anything related to being a top pairing defenseman, other than what I keep hearing from people, which is Yossi needs a bodyguard. He needs a body. Like, I can't get on board with it. I can't. That's all people keep telling me. That's all people keep telling me is Yossi needs a bodyguard. Luke Shin is not going to give you anything on the top pairing other than he's got some intangibles. He's going to hit hard. He led the league in hits, didn't he, this past year? I think he did. According to Money Puck, he did.
Yeah, I think so. I think I remember that.
So, yeah, and hits are a very subjective stat to begin with. No one exactly knows how they rate hits, you know? But, he's going to throw the body around. He's gonna be an enforcer of types, but I don't know if I want enforcers being on the top pairing.
Yeah, it just seems weird. Like you said, especially being out of your prime.
I mean, are we not ready to trust Alexander Carrier? I mean, you re-signed him.
Yeah,
you re-signed him. He was a restricted free agent. I mean, I feel like he's your future, and you need to see what he can do playing with Yossi.
I do too, and that's what I was going to say. Like, he's played with him in the past, so I would like to see that Yossi and Carrier for sure. But
I mean, and there's always going to be those people that say, "Well, why did you go out and sign Luke Shin on a third pairing if you're paying him X amount of dollars?" And I get all that. I've been very clear that I still don't understand the Luke Shin signing, and I won't. I won't understand it until I see the results on the ice speak for themselves. But I mean, you get Luke Shin for 3 years, $2.75 million. So you're not. I mean, he's not making a ton of money, but 3 years, you invested in him.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like you're dropping the bankroll on him to. I still think he should be on the third pairing, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
It's a tough. It's a really difficult puzzle to put together.
Mm-hmm. I think that's probably harder than the. Well, no, it's not that hard. It's not as hard as doing the forwards, but it's still like you have a really big decision to make here.
Nikki says on YouTube, he's just there to protect Yossi when they need, I guess. Yeah.
I guess, but I don't know.
Well, we will see. People are going to be pumped about it. We'll find out Tuesday. Yep. Literally less than 72 hours from now, we will know what's going to happen there on those line combinations that we just cannot wait to see what's going to happen in terms of healthy scratches, the third pairing, the fourth line, even the top line. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy, pretty fun as well.
You can pick 2 of the top line.
Yeah, we can do that.
That's pretty easy.
And, Forsberg finally, he's been putting a lot of shots on net throughout the preseason, and he finally did get that really pretty wrister of a goal.
Yep.
In that 5-1 Predators preseason win, their only win of the preseason, but we won't dwell on that.
Nope. I'm not going to dwell. Not going to dwell on anything until we're like 5 or 6 games in.
Yeah.
And then I will start thinking, what's happening.
We're about to talk about the Preds hype train. What are we hype about in 2023-24? I got 3 things that I am hype about. I'm on the hype train.
Cool.
So that's going to be in the next segment. But before we get to that, got to tell you about DraftKings, our current offer with the NFL still going on right now. Obviously, we got a lot going on with the NFL, and our offer continues. We're back with another week of football, and DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw 5 down on any of this week's epic matchups to walk away an instant winner. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this October. And so, Rich, I know you're in Cincinnati Bengals country, kind of. The Tennessee Titans went out there and beat the Bengals. What were people? That was kind of an upset.
My brother-in-law, Michael, is a massive Bengals fan, and my father-in-law likes him too. And he always puts like Houday on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I said, it looks like Houday got tightened up, didn't they?
Oh, mic drop.
Titans, like
no one saw that coming.
All them, yeah.
No
I
one
didn't
saw
see
that
coming. I didn't see that coming. I don't even watch football that much, and I knew. That was what was it 24-3? Is that what it was?
24-3 was the score. Yeah,
man.
No one saw that coming as well. So yeah, I sometimes the Titans and the Predators are like 2 mirror images of each other, even though they play different sport. Because I'm telling you, sometimes every time you think the Titans are done, they go and do what they do, and the same goes with the Predators.
Yep.
And so we've got a new week of action this week. The Titans take on the Colts. So for all of our Predators fans that are big Titans fans as well, another big game coming up this Sunday against the Colts, a division rival. Let's see if the Titans can get their 3rd win of the season and get a leg up in the division. So with our DraftKings current offer right now, football is more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now and sign up with code THPN. Now customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Licensed partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 and up. Age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.com/sportsking.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. That's what you need to know with all that.
There you go.
All right.
Before we move on to the next, I want to ask you a question. Did you see the Connor Bedard shootout against Minnesota?
I did see it where he kind of like fumbled the puck and everything.
He tripped, and Marc-Andre Fleury skated over and tapped him with a stick.
I did see it.
Oh my gosh, man. It was so crazy.
Well, some of these veterans are like so sick of hearing about it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they are.
I mean, he is the best prospect to come out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Connor McDavid.
Yeah,
and
it was just really funny. It just came up on Twitter.
It is time for the Preds hype train on this Saturday night Preds fever. We got John Travolta as the theme, Saturday Night Fever, right? We got palm trees in the background here on the YouTube channel. It's episode 203. It's Saturday night. We are going to get in on the hype train. What are we hype about? We've already got some people on the YouTube channel right now commenting. So we were about to share what they're hype about. I'm about to tell you what I'm hype about. I got some things I'm hype about.
I got a couple.
Rich has got a couple things he's hype about.
Yeah.
We want you to tell us in the comments, whether you're watching live right now on X or Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Tell us right now in the comments if you're watching live. If you're watching later after the live episode, you can still throw it in the comments. We check the comments daily.
Yes.
Let's throw in a comment real quick from CJ. CJ says his hypes are full season of Evangelista and Parsonen. What does Ryan O'Reilly do to help us grow? And Milwaukee's futures growth. There you go.
There you go.
So we're gonna keep watching the Preds prospect pool grow. It's become one of the top 10, I would say, fair to say, prospect pools in the NHL. Watching Ryan O'Reilly and how he helps us grow, absolutely, I agree with that. In a full season, Evangelista and Parsonen, yeah, I can get on board with that.
That is very exciting, for sure.
Also,
absolutely.
Nikki jumps in on YouTube talking about the NFL this week and our DraftKings Sportsbook promo code. Cowboys play the 49ers. Yee. She's a Dallas fan, so she's all Dallas. So that's going to be a good game for sure.
Cowboys, Stars.
All right, you ready for my first thing that I'm hype about, Rich?
Yep. Let's hear it.
I think a lot of people are on board with me on this hype train here. First thing I'm hype about. I'm not predicting this. This is what I'm hype about. So let's not get them mixed up, first of all. I am hype about Philip Forsberg breaking Matt Duchene's single-season goal record.
Yes.
Am I allowed to be hyped about that, Rich, or do you think I should just not be hyped?
Absolutely right to be hyped about that. Philip Forsberg is probably dying to get back to playing a full season of hockey after being out for so long last season. So, yeah, that's definitely something to be hyped about.
And, I know he only scored one goal in this preseason, but the dude was putting up a tons of shots on nets. He was getting opportunities. He was getting chances. I think that the more he plays in this system, he's going to really start thriving.
Yes.
This is his best opportunity in his NHL career to play in a system where his skill set can really, really take off.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's exciting. And that kind of leads into something that I'm hyped up about. And it's I'm excited to see what O'Reilly and Forsberg are going to do this year.
O'Reilly and Forsberg together. So those are tied into mine.
Yeah,
yes.
Tied into yours. Because, like you said earlier, nothing against Ryan Johansson, but just O'Reilly and Forsberg just seem like a good match to me. So I'm excited. I want to see what's going to happen.
Lindsay asked if she can give her Flames some hype. I haven't really thought about the Flames that much this offseason.
I haven't either. I
don't even know what to think about the Flames. I feel like they're one of those middle-of-the-road teams that are kind of lost in the abyss.
Yeah.
I think the Flames are one of those teams where they're not bad. They're not a doormat. They're going to be a tough team to play against.
Mm-hmm.
They got some great players. They got a good goalie in Markstrom. But are they good enough to make the playoffs this year? They're kind of right there with the Predators, I feel like. They're one of those teams that you really don't know what to expect out of them this year when it comes to the Flames. We know they're not a bad team.
Yeah. No,
they're not a bad team.
No, not
but
bad.
Are they a Stanley Cup contender? Probably not. They're stuck in that middle.
Yeah, they've entered Preds land. Stuck in the middle.
Yeah. All right, so Nikki also says in the YouTube comments, we're talking about what we are hype about. Nikki says she is stoked for Evangelista and Askarov hockey cards finally.
Yeah. Nikki's a big hockey card collector. I've seen some of the cards. She's put pictures on Facebook, Twitter. She's got some nice stuff.
And Justin Gambino says, I'm hyped for fun hockey. Justin's also in our fantasy hockey league for a third year in a row. So fun to have him back in the league. And we're going to me and Rich are going to break down our rosters and how the draft went down, the live draft. But we're going to do that. We're going to do that to close out the episode. So just stay tuned for that. All right, so Preds hype train here on our Preds Saturday Night Fever episode here. So
did you see? Here's Lindsay's Flames, what she's hyped about. Newsflash, it's nothing.
Give your Flames a little bit more credit, Lindsay.
Yeah. That's funny, though.
All right.
Nothing.
So let's move along here with my hype train. I got another one here. I think this one is a very general term. It's not breaking news. I think we're all going to be on board with this one. I am hype about the Preds being finally a team that pushes speed, pushes the tempo, pushes the pace, takes some chances. I understand I understand the trade-off. They're going to get scored on at times. They're going to give up that counterattack. But I am so hype about watching Predators hockey, and it might take 20 games before we fully see it, but I am hype about seeing Preds hockey that pushes the tempo.
100% agree, and that's what Justin said. Fun hockey. He's hyped for fun hockey, and that's what I want to see as well.
Make a team.
Absolutely.
Make the opposition defend.
Yes.
Yep. Make them defend. Keep them on their heels. And then I trust our top four defensemen totally. I trust Yossi. Yossi's worked on his game and tried to become a more well-rounded defenseman where he doesn't just flash his offense, but he can actually get back and be a defender. Out of the top four, really the only defenseman that I kind of worry about is obviously Luke Shen. Yeah. And Tyson Barrie is not really known for his defensive ability, but I worry about Ryan McDonough's durability a little bit.
Yeah.
At his advanced age. But
a little bit.
I still feel pretty good about the top four defensemen for the Predators.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking, we want to see him, play faster and all that. I was just thinking back to last season when all the veterans got hurt and the young guys were playing and they were kind of playing that style of hockey. And we were all just like, pushed all the chips in and they were just playing, freewheeling out there. And it was really fun to watch. So that's what I'm looking forward to, a hyped up version of that this year. So
I'm hype about the fact that the Predators are finally getting with the times because that's what the league is these days. There are still some teams out there who play that way.
Yep.
I would say that there's definitely some teams out there who still play a very rugged style, but overwhelmingly the most elite teams, the Stanley Cup contending teams, they have speed. They have guys who can burn you. They push the pace. How many times have we watched the Predators go up against some of these teams and the offensive attack is just relentless? They just don't stop. They don't stop coming at you.
Yep.
How many times have we watched a period or two of Predators hockey where the Predators are just treading water to try to stay in the game, and then eventually the whole bottom falls out and the opposition finally their pace wears down the Predators. They draw a couple penalties or whatever it is. They finally beat Saros and the floodgates open and the Predators lose 5-2 or something like that.
Yep. Because there's only so much Saros can do.
So let's be the team that does that to other teams finally. You know what I mean? No, so that's what I'm hype about. That's what I'm hype about.
Yep.
All right.
I'll give you another hype thing. I'm excited to see what UC Saros is going to do this year. And I'm hyped to watch him hoist that Vezina trophy.
Well, he's your prediction. You already predicted him to win.
I really love I like watching the goals and stuff, but I love goaltending. I think it's so amazing. And just, everybody loves UC Saros. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year. Hyped.
Nikki says the cycle, lose the puck thing hopefully is going to be gone.
Yeah.
So she's referring to the John Hines system where you're trying to plug away and win pucks possession and forecheck hard and no one's saying that forechecking is not important, but like eventually you can't be a team that just like skates into a brick wall every time and you bash it into the zone and you try to win a puck battle on the boards and hope that you get a lucky bounce. You can be a really tough physical team and still use your speed as well. So that's what we're hoping to find there.
Yep. Yes.
All right, here's my last one for the Preds hype train here. And I alluded to this earlier because I think it was, I can't remember who commented on it. I think it was CJ commented on Joachim Kimmel. Mm-hmm. I am hype about Joachim Kimmel eventually getting his call up this season. It will happen. Yep. Don't know when. It might be in November. It might be later. But something's going to happen where Joachim Kimmel is going to make his NHL debut in 2023-24.
I wouldn't be mad at it. I'll tell you that. I think it'd be awesome to get him in, even if it's only for whatever the maximum amount of games that he can play.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. I think it's inevitable. I think it's gonna, I don't think you can keep a player like him down in the minors all season. Yeah. At some point, the need's going to arise, or something. A roster position is going to open, whether it's through injury or whatever. A trade. Yep. We don't know if the Predators are going to get more trades. We don't know any of that. Yep. At some point, there is going to be a need to where you can find a reason to call up Joachim Kimmel. So I'm hyped about that. I'm hyped.
You're gonna call up Kimmel before you call up Afanasiev, I guess.
I don't know about. We haven't even talked about him in this episode.
I know. I haven't even mentioned him. Yeah.
He didn't have a really particularly strong preseason enough to make a big impression. I had him pegged as a player who had a decent chance. But this is his second year in a row where everyone thought he was ready to make that jump and he didn't do it.
Nope. Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm not saying he'll never be called up ever again, but I think Joachim Kimmel is ahead of Afanasiev at this point.
I would think so too. I would agree with that.
All right, man. Let's move along. This is a great live episode tonight. Preds Saturday Night Fever, breaking down a lot of good stuff here as the regular season opener is less than 72 hours away in Tampa. The players have gone through a grueling training camp, a training camp that really pushed them and tested them. They commented about how hard they practiced in these under Andrew Burnett. Andrew Burnett pushed them. The players knew that whether you're a veteran or whether you're a young, inexperienced player, everyone has to show themselves and prove themselves, which is ultimately really good for the team. Let's hope we see the results on the ice from that. All right, let's move along here to the Central Division Rundown, our new weekly segment. It's going to go out throughout the season. We're going to touch the biggest topics throughout the Central Division each week.
Yep.
Let's start with the Chicago Blackhawks, Rich.
We already talked about Connor Bedard tripping.
First, I'm going to frame it this way. How much trolling and how much flack would the Predators fans catch if they were chanting, "We want the cup" during a preseason game? Answer that to me honestly.
It would be ugly.
It would be all over social media. I mean, people would be quote tweeting that. There would be banner jokes.
The banner jokes.
There would be banner jokes for days, and they'd probably come from Blackhawks fans if we were chanting, "We want the cup" in a preseason game.
Yep.
In a preseason game. Yep. So, did you see that, Rich?
I didn't see that I didn't even know about that until you told me, but that's amazing.
I'll find it.
That is amazing. I mean, that's just whatever.
I mean, good for them. I'm not saying they don't have a right to be excited, and they have cool. Connor Bedard, so they have a good young nucleus. They're definitely a couple years away, but they're in the very early stages of their massive rebuild. But
yeah, I'm flipping through. I'm looking at their roster. I don't know if it hasn't been.
They made a couple additions over. So this
they got Taylor Hall.
So this came from October 4th, so a couple days ago. It came. They were beating the Red Wings in preseason action 4-2. It was the last seconds of the third period, and they were chanting, "We want the cup." And oh my gosh, the comments on social media are hilarious.
Yeah.
If anyone knows the old school GIF of Michael Jordan saying, "Stop it, get some help."
Oh yeah.
That one's in there.
Yeah.
but I mean, they're hype. We just did the hype train thing.
And that's cool.
They're hype about Connor Bedard, and I get it.
Cool. Original 6 teams can get away with stuff a little easier than other teams. So
I'm just saying the double standard is hilarious because if Predators fans got caught doing that.
It is funny. Real quick, I'm looking at their roster. Guess who's a defenseman for them?
Lucas Pisa?
No, that would be amazing. Jared Tenorti.
Oh, I remember him.
He's on the roster.
Is Ben Harper also on that team?
He is not.
What about Corbinian Holzer?
Not Corbinian Holzer, but they do have Colin Blackwell.
Oh, I miss him. I liked him.
I liked him too.
I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't even know he landed on the Blackhawks. Right.
I didn't either. Well, seems like I do remember hearing that last season, but I forgot about it. Yeah, they got like Taylor Hall, Connor Bedard, and that's about it.
Let me read more. Let me read more of these. I'm only going to read the comments that are safe for work. Because there's some ones, obviously, they're one commenter says when it comes to the Blackhawks fans chanting "We want the cup" in the preseason. One commenter says haven't suffered long enough. Another commenter says who's going to tell them. I think that was referring to preseason.
That's pretty funny.
Delusion is another one. I hate to break it to them.
That's pretty good. That is very funny.
So now I'm seeing that apparently they were saying Detroit sucks.
Oh.
And it sounds like we want the cup. I don't know.
Detroit sucks.
All right, we'll see what happens. Yeah, Blackhawks fans are one of those teams that just everyone cannot stand.
They're special.
Except for Blackhawks fans.
They're original 16, man.
Let's talk about the Minnesota Wild. We haven't talked about them in a while. 3 contract extensions.
Yep.
A lot of people are down on the Minnesota Wild, but they give contract extensions to Zuccarello, Foligno, and another former Predator, Ryan Hartman.
Yep.
So it appears that the Minnesota Wild are sticking with what they got for the most part. They didn't really do much in the offseason in terms of signing any new players.
No.
They were relatively quiet.
They're a pretty rough team too.
They're kind of like I was alluding to that earlier. There are still some teams out there who live on that rugged style, and the Minnesota Wild are definitely one of those teams.
They are definitely one of those teams for sure. I saw the Zuccarello. I didn't see the other ones.
Zuccarello is a good player too. I can see that. He is.
But man, he's got to be getting up there in age.
So just came out today, actually. The Minnesota Wild signed forward Ryan Hartman to a 3-year, $12 million contract extension. The third veteran they've secured with a long-term deal during training camp to take them off the market next summer. I think that's a pretty interesting that they're going all in on re-signing before even the 2024 offseason. It tells me that front office feels very confident, way more confident than the media and the public feels about them to re-sign 3 players like that. I don't know how Wild fans feel about that.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. Well, they might be doing that because didn't Kaprizov, doesn't he make like a whole boatload of money or something?
Oh yeah.
He's like, they got to sign some of these other guys to try to get them maybe a little cheaper and hold on to them for a while because they got to pay Kirill the Thrill.
Yeah, which he's not going anywhere, obviously, but he's the future of that franchise, and rightfully so. But
Pat Maroon.
Just pulling up. Oh yeah, that's right. They did get Pat Maroon. You think that's so funny?
It is funny.
They got him for $800,000. The big rig.
Yeah, I guess.
So now you're looking at their cap situation for the Minnesota Wild, and they have basically no cap space now.
Yeah.
Less than $1 million. Less than $1 million in projected cap space.
Yep.
After that, so they're pretty much up against the wall. What they got is what they got. So you look at their team. They got Kaprizov, obviously a great player. Zuccarello re-signs for, let's see.
It wasn't.
Yes.
It was
Matt
like
Zuccarello, who is 36.
yeah, it was like $4 million a year or something, right?
4.125 million.
Yeah.
To 2026-27. I don't know, man, about that.
Yeah.
I really don't. That's a little rich for my blood. But I know he's a great player, but he's 36. Foligno, who is the assistant captain of the team, he's 32. They re-signed him to 2028, 29.
How old's he?
For $4 million. He's 32.
Hmm.
I just don't know, man. I don't know if I like what they're doing at all. I love Ryan Hartman. I loved when he was with Nashville for a very, very short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
He's only 29, but he resigns for what we just said, $4 million for the next 3 years. So that's your three signings that the Minnesota Wild just do. I don't know. I like the Ryan Hartman one. I get that one, and I think Zuccarello is a great player. But at 30,
for sure.
But at 36 to sign him for 2 more years.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
they did. His AAV does go down from $6 million this season. They got ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
because they were going to be free agents next offseason. So I get what they're doing, but
I knew he was getting up there in age, but I didn't know he was 36. But I just remember,
So I don't know. A lot of people think the Minnesota Wild are going to be the one team where their bubble burst and they don't make the playoffs. We'll see.
Yeah.
It could come down to Minnesota or Nashville who gets that final playoff spot.
Yep.
Out of the Central Division. I could see that happening for sure.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's finish our Central Division rundown with, we know who the top 2 dogs are in the Central Division. It's Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars. So me and Rich are going to pick right now. Who you taking, Dallas or Colorado? That is a really, really difficult choice to make. You can make a good argument for either one of them. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Nikki's going to be really happy with this. I'm taking Dallas.
I'm taking Dallas too.
I think
the what they've done.
I think they're deeper than Dallas or than Colorado. They're deeper than Colorado.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You got a ticked off Matt Duchene. He's probably going to be wanting to up his game quite a bit. You got one of our favorite players, Craig Smith. You got Jason Robertson. You got Jake Ottinger. I mean, gosh, I can't think of
Rupe Hintz.
Miro
Heiskanen. I don't know if you just mentioned him. I might have missed that.
Mention him.
Miro Heiskanen.
Joe Pavelski still, for how old he is, playing.
Miro Heiskanen is a Norris Trophy caliber player.
Yep.
That people just overlook for some reason, but they're starting to take notice.
Yep.
Jake Ottinger, I don't think he's necessarily a Vezina Trophy. He could be, but he's too streaky. The problem with Ottinger is he's very streaky.
Yeah.
Which Saros can be that way too.
When Jake Ottinger's playing well, he is unstoppable.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and Dallas still plays that. Dallas can play physical too. That's the thing about Dallas is they can play any style they feel like playing, which is why I put them ahead of Colorado. I think Colorado, although they have elite top-end talent, I don't trust Colorado's goaltending as much as I trust Dallas's with Georgiev.
Yep.
And I also don't trust Colorado's depth as much as I trust Dallas's.
Yep.
That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I agree. Did you see the video of Matt Duchene's son? He apparently they played Colorado in the last preseason game, and Matt Duchene's son was talking to Ryan Johansson. He said, "Uncle Joey, will you wave at me and warm up?" It was really cool. And then Matt Duchene was like, he said, "Go, Uncle Joey, except against Daddy," or something. It was really cool.
I forgot that CJ likes the Avs.
He does.
He says, "I think the Avs just want to start the playoffs now." Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yep.
Nikki, who's a Dallas Stars fan, says, "Yeehaw."
There you go. Yep.
There you go. It's going to be a fun battle to watch between those two teams.
Yeah, I really.
Season.
I mean, I really don't like Jamie Benn all that much. Well, really at all. But I am going to watch Dallas more this year because I want to see Matt Duchene more, and I want to see Craig Smith, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love Jason Robertson, man. He's such a good player. He's amazing. So,
yeah,
it's going to be fun. It'll be fun to watch those guys.
For sure. And with that, let's move along again. Let's catch up with our former Preds fan favorites. We know we're the ones that just left this past offseason. We're not going to go to those guys. I want to catch up with some old fan favorites who are still in the league. How about we start with our boy RV, Victor Arvidsson. He has found himself a great spot with the LA Kings.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm going to put this on screen real quick. Welcome, Rich. Go Stars. Yes. All right. Yeah, Victor Arvidsson. Still love that dude. Still love that guy.
And he
one of my favorite players.
He literally just had one of his best seasons as a pro with the Kings just now. So, I'll pull up his stats real quick, but Arvidsson, I didn't have a lot of confidence that Victor Arvidsson's career was really going to ever come back after he left Nashville. I thought he was kind of done. And the fact that he landed with the Kings, which is such a fun team to watch and really just took a new approach, and it was one of those cases of a change of scenery really helped a player.
Yep.
And you couldn't ask for a better player to see it happen to. Arvidsson's such a – and we all remember the fallout of when Arvidsson was traded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Forsberg even commented on his Instagram about it.
I didn't know what his stats were last season.
Are you just now looking at it?
Yeah, 26 goals and 33. That is amazing. I didn't realize that. I didn't watch any Kings games last season at all.
He came up 2 points shy of his career high.
Wow, man, that's amazing.
So to think that Arvidsson's 29 years old, Nashville gave up on him. We all gave up on him. We thought that he was figured out. I thought he was figured out. Because when you think about a player like Arvidsson who's so undersized, I thought that the league had figured him out.
Yep.
Because you look at it. The season before,
back with them now.
So when his last season with Nashville, he puts up 25 points in 50 games, and then he goes to the Kings, and immediately his production spikes.
Yep.
The John Hines effect, I guess you could say.
That's what I was going to say. It would be cool if we still had him, because I think he'd probably do well under the new coach for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so good to see Arvidsson still. He's only 29 years old. So, obviously he's not done yet. He's been in the league for a while. No, he's 30 now. He just turned 30, my bad. Yeah. So good to see him in a good spot. Let's move along here to Calle Jarnkrok, who's also found himself on a really, really good team.
Yes.
Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yep.
We're going to save it for episode 204, but we are going to look back at the expansion drafts and also look at how the Predators have fared against other expansion teams in recent history. But, of course, Calle Jarnkrok was part of that expansion draft protection list that he was not protected. That was the protection list where he went to the Kraken. That was also the same protection list where Matt Duchene and Ryan Johansson were left unprotected. That was the expansion list where Philippe Myers was protected. We all understand it. We all kind of got it at the time because he had just been traded for. But it's weird now to look back on it.
Looking at Calle Jarnkrok, career high points last season.
He's a key piece of their bottom six.
I've always loved him. He is
the Swedish Redwood. That was his nickname from Chris Mason, right?
No, that was That was
Matthias Ekholm.
Matthias Ekholm. I don't know what he called Yarncroke, but he's like a Swiss Army knife, man. He does everything.
I thought Yarncroke had a nickname from Chris Mason.
Yarny,
yeah.
That was that guy. That was that guy when I was next to. He was from Scotland, and he'd had a few.
And he kept yelling Yarny.
And he'd go, "Let's go, Yarny!"
Nice.
It was amazing. We were slapping hands. I never met the guy at all. It was so awesome. So awesome.
So that was the protection list where they protected Luke Cunnin, Tanner Jeannot, Matthias Ekholm, and Felipe Myers.
Yeah, none of those people.
Well, Matthias Ekholm, you understood that one. Tanner Jeannot, obviously.
Yeah.
Looking back on it now, Luke Cunnin, you would have swapped Yarncroke for Cunnin.
In a heartbeat. At the time, though, I don't know why we were like, I don't know. Yeah. Crystal ball.
So right now, Yarncroke is with the Maple Leafs, going into his second year of a 4-year deal that he signed in 2022 with the Maple Leafs. He's only making $2.1 million AAV. That's really cheap for what he does.
For what he is.
Really good bargain for the Maple Leafs.
Yep.
And he's a depth player. He's 32 years old now. So, I mean, the fact that a 32-year-old player just hit their career high in points is pretty impressive. To be 32 and hit your career high in points is pretty impressive.
Yep. He didn't do too shabby with Seattle either.
He didn't.
He had 26 points in 49 games. That's not bad.
Let's talk about Craig Smith. We just talked about the Dallas Stars. Craig joins the Dallas Stars now.
So he went from Nashville to Boston, and then he went from Boston.
And he kind of fell off with Boston. He kind of came a little irrelevant with Boston. I know you're a big Boston Bruins guy. So what do you think happened with him in Boston?
Just too much other talent
on
Boston's team. And he did. I mean, he had some flashes of good games here and there. And he actually played I think somebody got hurt, and he was either on I think he was on the second line for a little bit. He was playing with Pasternak and somebody else. But I think then he went from there. I think he played for Washington last season, the Capitals, and then I think now he's in Dallas. So,
and I've said this before. I think the Predators could have definitely kept Craig Smith during that 2019-20. After that 2019-20 year, if you look back on it, Craig Smith played his last season for the Predators that year. That was the year where the COVID-19 pandemic ended the season early in March. We don't know. I think that there's a good chance that Craig Smith cracks 20 goals again that year. He had 18 up until that point. He was second on he was tied for second on the Predators in goals in his final season with the Predators. How in the hell do you not bring him back?
I don't
know. Make that make sense to me.
I can't make sense of it unless he saw, hey, I'm gonna get to go play with the Bruins. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I know that many long years from now, on your gravestone, it's going to say Preds should have kept Craig Smith.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely be.
That's what we're gonna.
You know that. I've always been so bitter. We'll hit episode 300. If we ever, God willing, hit episode 300, I'll probably be talking about Craig Smith being lost.
I mean, it is. So Craig Smith to you is Callie Yarncroke to me. So
there we go. Makes sense.
I feel the exact same way.
So that following year, Smith joined the Boston Bruins on a $3.1 million AAV deal. And in his time with Boston, it wasn't just that one season, but his total time with Boston, he racked up 84 points and 23 goals.
Yeah.
So it's not like he just dropped off the face of the earth and Nashville just let him go. He still was productive. I'm very, very intrigued to see what kind of role he plays for Dallas. I'm not really sure. Maybe Nikki can tell us exactly where he's going to slot. But
he's going to get those crazy legs going. And I don't know.
It makes me really sad to see Craig Smith on the Dallas Stars, but
he only played in 22 games for Washington. So I guess that was that's right. It was a trade deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So in case everyone forgot, Craig Smith remains 5th all-time in Nashville Predators history with 162 goals, with only Roman Josi being the next active player close to passing him.
Yep.
So, in other words, Craig Smith will be in the top 10 on the franchise list for goals for years to come.
Yep.
Craig Smith will be in the top 10 on the Predators' all-time goal list for a long time. There's no one even close to him, passing him, that's active on the Predators roster.
Nikki says probably bottom 6 guy.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that makes sense.
Definitely. All right.
That's fine. I'll take that for him.
Let's get one more player in real quick, and that is the T word, Eeli Tolvanen. What are we expecting from Eeli Tolvanen? Do we think that he is just rising up more and more, and he is just going to really flourish even more with the Seattle Kraken, or do we think that it was more he was just on a new team and he was just riding the wave? Because the thing about the Seattle Kraken, they're very different than a team like the Maple Leafs or a team like the Stars, where they just have all these prolific scorers. Like the Seattle Kraken are one of those teams where they're just each line has its own role, and they all like just come together and make it a really tough team to play against. So Eeli Tolvanen fits into that.
Yep.
I mean, we can go back to the quote. Let me read you the original quote that David Poile told 102.5 The Game back in January of 2023. I pulled this up. I forgot he said this, but it's very, 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 very telling. So this was like a month after Tolvanen was lost and on the waivers. Quote,
I remember that day.
Quote, David Poile says to 102.5 The Game, quote, "This could be a mistake on our part. That's on me if he turns out to be really successful. But we thought we tried him in a lot of different areas in different places." I can tell you right now that I guarantee you that Andrew Burnett really wishes that he had an Eeli Tolvanen in his toolbox right now.
That's what I was going to say. He's another one that would be fabulous on this new system. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I don't think you'd be putting a waiver claim in for Samuel Fahimo.
No.
If you still had Eeli Tolvanen on this roster.
He played in 48 games for Seattle last season and had career high numbers.
The John Hines effect strikes again.
The John Hines effect. Just destroyed that young man's career in Nashville.
Oh my gosh.
Like he had, so I was looking at his playoff points. In the playoffs last season, he had 8 points. His career playoff points is 9 points. So he scored all of those.
Well, you can also look at his goal production with the Predators and what he did in one season with Seattle. If you got it in front of you, you could probably see the difference there.
16 goals in 48 games. In 2021, 22, 75 games, 11 goals.
Yeah.
So,
John Hines effect strikes again.
John Hines effect.
So we're going to see Eeli Tolvanen in the season home opener for the Predators.
They're going to go with that again, huh?
That is next week. Next week, we will see the Predators open their season at home after the Tampa Bay game.
Yeah.
And Eeli Tolvanen will be brought into Bridgestone Arena. There you have it. That's getting caught up on some longtime Preds fan favorites that are gone now.
Yep.
All right, we're going to end this episode with a couple things. Rapid fire on the Tampa Bay Lightning matchup. I'm just going to give you my quick thoughts on it real quick. I feel like it's a very, very close matchup now that Andre Vasilevsky's out.
That's huge.
So you can go ahead and give a really strong check in the side of the Predators when it comes to goaltending. But the Lightning obviously have the advantage when it comes to top-end talent.
They sure do.
Special teams, I would have to give the Lightning the edge there on power play with Kucherov and Braden Point. You got to give them the edge there. So here's my major key to the Predators beating the Lightning. And I actually give them a decent chance to beat the Lightning. I do. First of all, season openers are a complete toss-up. You never know what to expect.
Yeah, you never know. I have no clue.
But here's where I think the key to the game is going to be. I think the Predators are going to have to really take advantage on the power play.
Yes.
I think the Tampa Bay Lightning, I think both teams are going to commit penalties, and it's going to be a special teams heavy game. Both teams are going to get power play opportunities. I suspect that the Tampa Bay Lightning will connect on a couple of their power play opportunities. So it's going to be on the Predators to do the same.
Yeah, I agree. Tampa, I mean, they've changed a lot in the past few seasons, but man, they're still dangerous. They've got
especially on the power. They haven't lost really anyone on their power play though. That clear. A lot of their changes happened in their bottom six in their depth.
Yeah.
They've still got Kucherov. They still got Stamkos. They still got Braden Point. They've still got Tanner Jeannot coming back, and he is revitalized, and he is so ready. I've read some interviews and some things here locally. Tanner Jeannot is so hyped about entering his first full season with Tampa. Already had a really big-time fight in this preseason, and he owned that guy. He owned that poor guy.
He's a great man.
But, so – I give the Tampa Bay Lightning a big edge there when it comes to top-end talent and special teams. So can the Predators put it all together quickly and score a power play goal or two? And because I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are probably going to get a power play goal or two of their own. Yes. I could see a final score being around 4-3, somewhere in that neighborhood. Who do you give that fourth goal to? Is it the Predators or the Lightning?
It's such a toss-up.
I think they're gonna hang with them. I really do, but I think Saros is gonna have a strong game to keep the game close. But I'm telling you, if you can't go 0 for 4, 0 for 5 on the power play, because I think the Lightning will make you pay.
I wonder who's going to be in goal for them. Do you know? For Tampa,
they haven't decided yet. It's very much up in the air. They haven't picked up anybody yet that I'm aware of. So it seems like they're probably going to go with Johansson.
Jonas
Johansson. He's had a really good preseason. Okay. He's had I think he had back-to-back shutouts in the preseason.
Oh wow. Okay. So that might be a struggle for Nashville.
And he's played he's got NHL starts under his belt. Like he had time with Colorado. He played a few games with Tampa.
35 games, it says.
Yes. So career. It seems that that's who they're going to go with, most likely. Yeah.
That means he'll probably have a career game.
That's what all the fans say, right?
That's what happens. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what we got going there on that matchup. Let's wrap up to episode 203, Saturday Night Preds Fever on this live edition on Saturday night. John Travolta really likes this episode, apparently.
Staying alive.
Let's look at our rosters, Rich, and let me first of all explain to you guys what was happening. So I think everyone who's listening to the show in the past, and if you aren't aware, I am a bartender. That's how I pay my bills, right? I work at a really nice pool bar down here in St. Petersburg, Florida. And don't tell my boss this. Hopefully he's not watching right now. I was trying to do a live draft while also serving poolside drinks to people. It was not easy. And for whatever reason, I could not enter the live draft. It would not let me enter. I was clicking the link and it would not let me get in. And I knew it was my turn to pick most likely, but it would not let me in the draft.
Yep.
It ends up letting me enter the draft with 10 seconds to pick.
Yep.
I had no idea where the players were, who to pick. And so guess who I take? The first player that I see, so it doesn't just pick some random player. I take Nikita Kucherov with my first pick.
Yeah. So we're using a different website for this year. It's Fantrax. I never even heard of it until CJ announced it. I wasn't even sure like how to do anything because I hadn't been on it. And it got to your pick, and the clock froze at 23 seconds. And
that's CJ. CJ paused it for me.
I didn't know that. I thought that something happened on my end, and I'm like, crap. Like I picked like right after you, I think.
Yeah.
Or two back. I don't remember. Two after you. And like I was like, oh crap, what's going on? And then I went into our chat and I saw that he said he had to pause it, but I did not know that it only lets you have 10 seconds of your minute. So
because when he paused it, and by the time I finally got in, the clock was ticking down to 10 seconds. Yeah. And so let's go over just the first few picks of the draft. So Connor McDavid goes number 1, no shock there.
Yeah, of course.
Leon Draisaitl goes number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan McKinnon goes number 3. I had the 4th pick. First of all, let me tell you all my team name.
Okay. Yeah.
Lasagna Mania.
Yep.
Because Jeremy Lasagne hits you like a bowl, like a big old bowl of lasagna after you eat it. So Lasagna Mania is my team name.
Yep.
And I panicked and I took Nikita Kucherov, even though I would have had, if I would have had more time, I would have taken Pasternak. I probably would have taken Austin Matthews over Kucherov as well. But I didn't have any time. I panicked. I froze. I was also at work. Yeah. My boss was staring at me, actually.
He's like, eagle eyeing you?
Yeah. So I took Kucherov. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. And since it's a snake draft, I didn't get to pick for a while after that.
Yeah.
But here's the picks after mine. So Kucherov I take with the 4th pick.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Tkachuk goes number 5. Pasternak goes to Rich.
Rich
takes number. Austin Matt. I bet you were so excited that Pasternak was still on the board.
I was really
somersaults.
I couldn't believe that Pasternak and Matt first off somebody took Tkachuk over those two guys was crazy to me.
Who is that team?
I was
know
really
who that is?
struggling. I was really struggling with Matthews or Pasternak. So I went with Pasternak. Had an awesome season last season, so I'm hoping.
So Pasternak goes number 6 to Rich. Number 7 is Austin Matthews. Number 8 is Jack Hughes. I love that pick.
Yeah,
from our friend Kyle. And then Jason Robertson goes number 9 to the commissioner. CJ takes Jason Robertson. And UC Saros goes number 10.
That's
a reach. I'm not being mean, but we're putting a lot of faith in Saros.
Yeah, I didn't go. I like the past few times we done, and I really don't know what I'm doing, but I did not pick goalie first. I always went for highest player, and then after that, just kind of fill in. But
Rantanen goes number 11. Brady Tkachuk goes number 12 to Lindsay. So we have both Tkachuks. The Tkachuk brothers get picked both in the first round.
Yep.
Brady Tkachuk goes number 12. Cal McCarr goes to our friend UC Saros to number 13. Also has been in the league both years. And then I think this is our friend Max, right? Max Greenberg takes which his team name is Romans Empire. He takes Kaprizov.
That's good.
And then he also turns around because it's a snake draft. So he got 2 picks in a row. Then he turns around and takes Roman Josi.
Yes.
So that's 2 really good picks by Max there.
Yeah.
Connor Bedard gets taken by Matt Hardesty in the 2nd round.
It might not be bad.
Might not be
bad.
You take Zibanejad with your second round pick.
I did. Yeah.
I like that.
I like that, dude.
What does everybody think about my 2nd round pick? Finally, I got to pick. I had to wait so long. So at this point, I'm in the draft. I'm actually drafting, and I'm picking
you're able
players.
to get in.
I take Jack Eichel with my second round pick.
Where are you seeing the picks?
So do you have your app pulled out?
Yeah, yeah.
So you click your little logo with the arrows, and you click draft room.
Okay. All right.
That's why it took me so long to get in the draft to begin with, because I couldn't even find that.
Yeah. Weird.
So yeah, I'm looking at all the picks right now. So let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and share my team now. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So I took Jack Eichel with my second round pick.
That's good.
I took Kevin Fiala. Kevin Fiala is my left wing. Right wing is Kucherov. I take Jordan Kyrou. I like that one. I'm not so sold on my defensive core. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I was having trouble getting some defensemen. So
the defenseman went quick. So I got Moritz Seider. Moritz Seider was my first defenseman I took, which he is one of the up-and-coming defensemen of this generation, Moritz Seider, for the Detroit Red Wings. So I'm not against that. I take Lindholm for the Boston Bruins.
That's good.
I took Darnell Nurse, not crazy about it, but this was getting towards the end of the draft. I had to get a defenseman. So I took Darnell Nurse. And guess what my last pick was?
Who?
Luke Shen.
Oh, there you go.
Because I figure he'll get me a lot of hits.
Yeah, he should.
We get points for hits, right?
Yeah.
And I really like my goalies. I love my goalies. I end up getting Connor Hellebuck and Philip Gustafsson.
Yeah, I was so when it got to be, I can't remember, I think it was third round. Nobody had taken Linus Ullmark yet. And I was like, really wanting him.
So I had to choose between Ullmark or Hellebuck, and I took Hellebuck.
Well, I wanted Ullmark, and I think that was when we were going the other way. And somebody picked him, and then I was like, oh gosh, Hellebuck's still up, and then you took Hellebuck.
So here's why I didn't take Ullmark over Hellebuck, because I was choosing between those two.
Yeah.
Boston's goalie situation is very close to being 50-50, I feel like. So I don't want to draft a goalie. I don't want to draft a goalie where I don't know how many starts he's going to get.
Yeah.
I don't want to
be this year like that.
I don't want to be going through a nightly basis where I don't know if Swayman's going to steal a start from Ullmark. So I would rather have a goalie like Hellebuck where I know he's going to start a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Until he gets traded, possibly. Which could still happen too. But and then if you look at my bench, I mean, at that point, I got Chris Kreider. I don't know how he stayed on the board so long.
That's weird.
He was on the board really late. But that's my team. Rich, tell everyone your team real quick.
I'll tell you some of the bigger folks that I have. So I have obviously David Pastrnak. I have Steven Stamkos, which
that's a good one.
That's a good one. Mika Zibanejad, Artemi Panarin, which I think that could wind up being pretty good.
He's going to get tons of points on the Rangers. The Rangers are a high-scoring team.
I have Matt Zuccarello. And then after that, it just kind of goes downhill. I'm not going to lie, the third or the
Who's your goalies? Wait, who's your goalies?
Tristan Jarry.
Ugh.
Darcy Kemper.
Ugh.
And Elvis Merzlikins.
Elvis has left the building.
Elvis might have a better year this year.
Kemper is a good one. Who's Kemper play for again? Who's he with?
Washington this year.
All right.
He was the one. He was, by the time I got to pick a goalie, he was the top goalie that was left.
Your goalie situation is a little dicey, Rich. I'm not going to lie.
Very dicey.
But you have a lot of good forwards. You have a lot of elite point scorers. You're going to get a lot of
I hope
your guys are going to, your team's going to get you a lot of points that way, because you got Pastrnak, Zibanejad, and Panarin. I mean, those three guys alone are just going to pile up a tons of points for you.
Yeah. So then I was looking today though, and also I have Jake Gensel.
Yeah,
he's hurt. I didn't know that. And then I have Brandon Montour. He's hurt. He wasn't hurt last night or when we drafted. And I have Nick Ehlers. He's hurt. Yeah, he's hurt too.
Well,
So I guess I'm gonna have to figure.
You can
something
use
out.
your reserve players, can't you? Don't we have reserves?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got plenty. It's just I don't know how long these dudes are gonna be out.
So towards the end of the draft, it starts drafting like reserve players. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So I ended up with Patrick Kane on my reserve roster.
He didn't even play for anybody.
Well, if he ends up signing with a team, I got him in the holster.
That might be good. Yeah.
I got Pacioretty. I got Pacioretty on my reserve list.
That's good.
I got Antti Ranta as my reserve goalie.
That's pretty good.
How's that even possible?
I don't know. I have David Perron, Anders Lee. I have Brock Nelson as well. Rasmus Sandin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nazem Kadri.
I didn't realize we had that many roster spots available. So yeah, this is a new league we're using. So fun stuff.
And like I said, I auto drafted the last 3 rounds. So
gonna be fun. All right, I don't even know who I'm playing the first week. Now I gotta look at that.
I am playing the Donkeys. I don't know who that is.
Everyone's got weird names this year. I don't know who the Marble King is. Who's the Marble King?
I don't know. Smash Villians. I don't know who that is. John Davies. Not sure who that is. Crosby, Skills, and Nash. That's funny.
We got some fun names this year for sure.
Yeah, that one's great. Crosby, Skills, and Nash. That's
You're
hilarious.
going up against the Donkeys. Yeah, that doesn't. I don't like how it doesn't tell you who you're playing. Like I want to see the name of the player.
Yeah,
it doesn't say that.
Well, Justin's in here somewhere. Justin, what's your team name? I know CJ's. His is the Crack House one.
The Crack House.
Nikki's in here too. I don't know what theirs are either. So.
All right, we are going to wrap up this episode, this live edition. Getting late. It's Saturday night, Preds Fever. We're excited. The next time we see all of you lovely people will be after the regular season opener. So until then, we appreciate you joining us on this live Saturday night edition. It's been fun. Thank you for sticking with us. Hit like on Facebook if you're watching. Hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the follow button on X. We appreciate all of that.
Yes.
And we will see you soon. Go Preds. It's time for hockey. And we're really, really happy about it. Oh, it looks like I'm playing Chris. All right, I'm playing Chris. He was in our league last year.
So Nikki is High Fence Hunters. Justin
Who's the Donkeys?
I don't know. Justin is Smash Villains.
Right.
Smash Villains. I want to know who Crosby, Skills, and Nash is because that is an awesome name.
That's probably the best one.
Yeah, it is. That's great.
You should just bring back Lincoln's burner account.
I think I might. I might have to. I didn't change mine. I'm gonna
just keep it 2 years in a row.
I'm trying to think of something funny, but
I've already settled on it. You're Lincoln's burner account.
Okay, I'll change it for sure.
All right, everybody, have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will see you next week after the season opener to talk about that. Until then, everyone stay safe. Take care of each other. We love you. We'll see you soon.
Yep. Have a good one.